Hello students. Today our topic for discussion future contracts. The meaning of future contract we discussed in the last video. So today we are going to discuss about the futures or characteristics of future contracts. So future contract. So as we all understood that so it is a contract to buy or sell underlying asset at predetermined date and agreed price today. So this is the meaning of future contracts. Now what are the general features of future contract, or what are the characteristics of the future contracts? The first point, standardized specifications, or it is also called standardized contract. Standardized contract. Now why it is called a standardized contract? Because it has some standardized specifications. For example, the underlying asset, uh, quality of the asset, the month and date of delivery, quantity, etc. So these are standardized specifications. The underlying asset, quality of the underlying asset, the date and month of delivery, the quantity of the asset. So everything clearly stated. So that is why this contract is called standardized contract, because it has some standardized specifications. Just now I said. Next point, clearinghouse. Here, a single clearinghouse acts as the counterparty for all future contracts. So this means the clearinghouse is the buyer for every seller and seller for every buyer. I repeat the sentence what I said just now. Uh, Clearinghouse is the buyer for every seller and seller for every buyer. Why it is so? Because it is the clearing house through which every transaction is going to settle. So that is why clearing house is a buyer for every seller and seller for every buyer. So this ultimately eliminates the risk of default and also allows traders to reverse their positions at a future date. Next point, delivery through an organized stock exchange. So future contracts are traded on an exchange, which means organized stock exchange. Future contracts are traded on organized stock exchange, while the forward contracts are privately traded. That forward contract concept we studied in the last video. So here future contract traded on an exchange, whereas forward contract privately traded. Next point, margin requirements and daily settlement. Future contracts require a margin to be posted at the contract initiation, which fluctuates as the future prices fluctuate. Okay, as the future contract prices fluctuate, the margin also fluctuate. Okay, the margin amount fluctuate as the price of the future contract fluctuate. So there is no such margin requirement in a forward contract. Usually clearinghouse fixes the margin money to be deposited by the trader through his broker. So margin is the minimum amount required in order to trade in future contracts. So margin it is treated as collateral security. So in order to minimize the risk of default by either party in the future contract. Next point, existence of regulatory authority. So this point already mentioned. So all the future contracts are regulated through exchanges, stock or commodity. Next point, settlement in cash for difference. In future contract, there are two parties, buyer and seller. So both party has to settle in cash for the difference between the agreed price at which the contract was entered and the cash price at expiration date. So this means, so any difference between agreed price and cash price or market price has to be settled in cash. I hope you understood the general feature of future contracts. Thank you.